Hey, what's up? I'm Coach Ryan Finley from the VIPAR Pit. Today I have your 1, 2, 3 punch, your knockout punch for lateral hip pain. So I'm talking about that ache that you get right on the side of your butt cheek. Personally, I get this if I've been sitting in a car for too long with my hips fixed, or if I've been locked into emails on my computer and I don't get up and walk around, my hips just get really tight. This is 3 exercises or 3 series that you can do to help improve your lateral hip pain. We're gonna take care of it from a couple angles. We're gonna tackle the soft tissue as well as work to strengthen the muscles in that area, all right? Give this a try, and I really think it's gonna benefit you. It helped me a ton. I get this lateral hip pain kind of after squat days. So just background, I've got osteoarthritis in the hips. I've been told I'm a candidate for total hip replacement even at age 36, which is crazy to me, but it's genetic, it runs in my family. But doing these drills can get me completely pain-free. So obviously listen to your doctors. This is not medical advice, but for me personally, I can keep my symptoms at bay by being smart about this stuff. So let's dive in. First one is we're gonna release the glutes, the piriformis and the glute medius and all the muscles surrounding the hip. Now a lot of people do this, in my opinion, incorrectly. They'll take a hard ball like a lacrosse ball or a field hockey ball and sit on it on the floor. I think that puts too much pressure in one individual spot. I think for me personally, now I'm 260 pounds, if I do it, it's so much pressure that it actually makes the issue worse. So the tissue actually tightens up in response to doing it. So if I am gonna use a small ball like this, I'll do it against a wall. So I'll take this and I'll just lean against the wall so I can modulate the amount of pressure I'm putting into it. So the first one is just leaning into the wall with the ball, and you wanna put it right around the hip bone, the greater trochanter of the femur, and you're just gonna search around and find those tight spots. Typically I get one right in that upper half of the side of my butt cheek. And when you find that spot, put a little pressure on it, breathe into it, and just do some movement. Flex the knee, bring the leg across the body, do some circles. Just find that spot and really seek out areas that are tight. The next one we're gonna cross the ankle over the knee and go in that same location and work on the side of the hip there. Oh, I got some jump right there. Breathe into it and move the knee around a little bit. Try to work on that tissue. We're gonna do the same thing now directly in the back on the glute. The ankle across the knee and hinging forward at the hips to really try to nail those hip rotators as well as glute max. All right, if you don't want to do this, my preferred way of doing it is with a bigger, firm, this is a non-squeezing medicine ball. It's a lot more surface area, so it's not gonna really put as much direct pressure on any nerves or anything like that. So the first one again, we're gonna lay on the side, straight leg, directly on it, and we're gonna work all around that hip. When we find those tight spots, we're gonna move around a little bit. We're gonna bend and straighten them, flex and extend the hip. We're gonna lift the knee up, and just really dig into those spots. From there, we're going to do ankle across the knee. Oh yeah, I got some good stuff right there today. Breathe into it. Deep diaphragmatic breathing is really important for these releases. As this movement, you don't just want to stay on the spot, you want to move the joints around so we can release that tissue. Okay, so first step, done. We release the lateral hip. Sorry. From there, now we're gonna do some hip traction. So, got a thick green band. This is a green jump stretch band from Elite FTS. I'm going to step into it and get it really up high. Move your junk out of the way, fellas. And we wanna walk this way enough to get a lateral pull. Now I'm doing this where it's tractioning my hip out directly laterally to the side of that down leg. So I'm kneeling here on an AirX pad. I'll scoot it so you can see. Kneeling on an AirX pad, and the band is pulling that knee away. So we're tractioning the hip laterally, all right? And from there, I'm just gonna go down in this position while the band is pulling me, and I'm just gonna rock. Sit back on the hip, move forward, play around with the angles a little bit. And I'll show you what the position looks like. So, because I know you can't see blocking my body. But now we're pretending that the band's here. So the band will be pulling this leg out to the side, traction here up high, and you're just going to rock side to side, do a little cat camel, sit back on the heel, all while the band is pulling the hip that way. We're gonna just traction the lateral hip capsule there. So that's step 2, banded traction on the hip. The third one is we're gonna do some gluteus medius exercise. One of my favorites is the tall plank hip raise, I guess you would call it. So you're gonna put your knees on the side of an AirX pad, hand on the ground, and you're just going to lift up and separate. Lift up and separate. You will be surprised how much this burns. You're gonna lock your core in too as you do this. At first, I'll be honest, as much as I've been able to squat and deadlift, I struggled to do 10 body weight reps on that. Eventually you want to build up to being able to do 50, and each rep you want to hold in the contracted position. That's it. That is enough to keep me pain-free in the lateral hip, keep me moving well and able to squat and deadlift without pain, all right? So there's your 1, 2, 3 punch for lateral hip pain. Release the glutes, lateral banded traction to the glutes, and then strengthen with the tall side plank. I'm Coach Ryan Finley from the VIPAR Pit. If you like this video, please hit subscribe below. I'll catch you next time.